Hello. Okay. Get down, Mama.
You come use the gap and show us.
Oh, you're getting it up.
Yeah, so we should be able to just like roll. You want this?
Yeah, be open.
Just go between the two tabs.
Let minutes show that the executive session began at 4:49. Was in Public Works, our finance director, city clerk, city attorney, city manager, and city council. All members of the public are present at the broadcast and stuff.
Yeah, she's only broadcasting.
Are we recording?
Yes.
If so, and once again, remind the council to limit the discussion to the topic. Which this time.
Me? All right, so as part of MI6 flood control, we've had that under design for the last year or so. We've got that design pretty much all done, and we're just working on some final things. So one of the issues that came up, the property in question here, this is a knockback cavern. So this area right here is an old road. This is a bridge, and this goes back to the old Quonset that used to be the traffic facility. So under our original design of MI6, we're taking that bridge out and we're gonna basically put all that into green space to the west side of the knockback. So when we presented that to the knockback, we found out that they have an apartment or apartments on the second floor. And this area right here is where their tenants park. So we looked at some different options to provide them a driveway access. And, so what's on, this is two different options that we had presented to them. So then in the end, they asked, yeah, we can make, this is the one that we kind of landed on. They said, we can make that driveway option work, but would the city be interested in just buying our property? So, it wasn't originally bought out as part of flood control because there are no flood control features that land on it. But in order for it to stay in place, there is a lot of work that we have to do to keep it there. We'd have to build the driveway, the two aprons. We're replacing all the water and sewer in First Avenue all the way down a block and then south a little ways. So there's a lot of costs that go into just keeping it there. This is a spreadsheet of what our so this is a spreadsheet of costs that we anticipate would cost us to keep that in place. So somewhere in the neighborhood of about 286,000. These are estimates. So we won't know what these numbers are until we actually bid the project out. But so we went back to the state because this is a little where we're buying a property that's not needed for a flood control feature. So that's not usually how DWR operates with our acquisitions. So we presented the idea to them of, so if the state would be in, if we kept this where it is, and the state would be in for, about 186,000, 65% of the share of this, which would have been a flood control cost. Would the state let us use those funds toward the purchase? And the state committed to letting us use 75% of that 186 or the actual numbers, whichever one is lower. So we'll be able to use some state funds for whatever 75% of 186 is, or a slightly lower number. So this property is currently listed. I think it's on the market currently for 400. I don't think it's flying off the shelf. I think the owners well, they've told us flat out, they would prefer acquisition than the driveway and us making accommodations for them to stay there. So I could probably negotiate a number lower than 400 from what I've heard. I think it was purchased in 2021 for 300,000, I think is what I've been told. It currently has a water service line that's in the basement leaking. They've been told it's gonna cost them 25 grand to fix the service line, so they're just collecting it in a bucket and pumping it out. So they're not doing repairs to it. They're also 2 years behind delinquent on property taxes, so they're not in a great position. We're probably doing them a huge favor along with helping us out. Somewhere down the road, in talking with Lance, the Third Street Bridge will probably have to be rebuilt. It currently doesn't meet the railroad's clearance requirements, so probably means that bridge will get taller and then a little bit wider. So if we don't buy it now, we might need it, or probably will need it 10, 15 years, 20 years from now, whenever we get around to doing the Third Street Bridge. So I'm here asking you guys for permission to acquire.
So just understand this, Jason, your estimated cost savings, that's doing acquisition versus the accommodations for them?
Say that again.
The cost savings, the 286, that's what it would cost. So that's what we would save versus,
No, the 286 is what it would cost to get to the driveway.
okay.
That's what we would spend in MI6 to keep them where they currently are.
Okay.
So that would be a flood control
Fine.
cost.
Okay.
But that's if you're going in with their asking price of
Right.
$200,000.
So are you looking for kind of an up to number?
I think that's how we did the last one. You guys gave me a range of,
What is the tenant situation? Do they have leases? How long are those leases?
I don't know the answer to that. But
I don't wanna-
it didn't sound to me like they had any commitments that they couldn't get out of relatively quickly. But
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean we would want it. You know what I mean? Like, just because they can get out of it in 2 weeks, that's not
Yeah.
necessarily the best thing for the tenant.
and it's not a huge hurry.
Mhm.
For us to get it all, cleaned out, where we're not probably gonna demo it right away. So there's some time for us to close if they need to work with their tenants to get them moved out as well.
What are the back taxes?
Not a little over $9,000.
And can you guys think of any other uses for it? Like why there would be a reason not to demo it?
It's not a very quality building, so
Okay.
No, okay.
and one of the things, the unknown here is, that we've run into this before. All of a sudden now we have a major construction project right in the backyard of this building. And if there's any other issues that come to light, it seems like it's always uncommon that project in their backyard that caused that. So something else to consider too.
Is the bar open? Is it?
I think, is it not open? So,
They have a license, right?
They have a license.
They're open-
I didn't know if they were.
They're open sporadically. Like, I don't think there's that over.
Well, and whatever,
It's like
and this is
drop it.
probably a one-off from there, which I probably shouldn't say, but I mean, they could still sell a liquor license if they chose not to stay in business or they take the.
It's almost like a beer.
It's beer and wine.
Oh, it's beer and wine. Okay. So there's no real value. Okay, all right.
I had proposed making the bar like the 12th Department of Public Works. We could use it as a money generator.
Yeah. Could get gaming in there. Yeah, there you go.
And that's on the record.
I say him, Jess.
So Jason, Dave, do you guys have a recommendation for like a starting negotiating point for the council?
So it looks like we currently have the two parcels assessed at about $269,000, which Jason thinks is a little bit less than what they had paid for it 2 years ago. So it could be just that our assessment hasn't caught up with the purchase yet. They're asking 400,000, so I would ask for the leeway between the assessed price and 400,000. Obviously, we'll start at something.
Do we seriously think it's went up in value at all since they purchased it? with now the $25,000 repairs, the back taxes.
And with what's gonna happen around it.
Right,
Yeah.
like
No, but I think, I mean, that's what their first ask was, so I would say, assume that we wouldn't have to go above that number. I think that we could probably settle it for somewhere in the middle there.
I wouldn't pay them over 300.
yeah,
I
I
would,
would.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I have a hard time going.
I'm glad, I'm impressed that they got that for it. And then they come in now that you've got a negative asset because you come in, you pay 300, well, you're actually paying 325 for the repairs. You're already at 325 for that. Granted, we don't have to factor that, but that's what they have to factor. I mean,
You're gonna be dealing with construction in the neighborhood.
and on top of that, we're already adding another $168,000 out of taxpayer funds to do this option, correct? You know, we're already ponying it up. It's already costing us more money if we do go down that route.
Is it coming out of the general fund? Is that the proposal?
That'd be sales tax, flood control dollars. So, Michaela just got the text from Brian, the assessor, that the 2024 assessment is 290,000. So, I mean, I guess I would like to start
The
there.
current listing states that there are no tenants currently in the apartment club.
So there's no relocation cost.
It's not.
That's just what Ryan said.
So.
Do they have to pay taxes then when they sell it, or we just,
Yeah,
could we,
That would come off the closing, I think, out of their proceeds. That's how that works out.
But they don't have the proceeds. They bought it with a conventional loan, I could tell, for 300, so,
Yeah, we have no idea what the balance on the mortgage is, so.
yeah.
And that could be what is going to drive some of this too, is what,
They're gonna have to pay to sell it.
yeah,
well,
Boil it down.
or you have to get a lender to agree to short or something else, so.
Or else we wait a year and it comes back to us, it comes back to the county on back taxes. I mean, it's another option if they're not generating, doesn't sound like it's a generating, revenue generating asset for them right now, because they're not open. They don't have tenants. So it's just, it might be their best option to let it go back to the county at this point. So we might be even
So
for the worst.
real risk for us here is $280,000 to put all the upgrades in, the driveways, the sewer and water lines, and then we come back in 3 or 4 years and have to acquire it anyway and demo the $280,000 that we just put into it.
when we'd have to put that in? The 280,
MI6 is projected to go for bid probably the end of March, bid opening in April, so.
the 2025.
No, we're gonna bid that.
Oh,
soon.
right, okay.
So then,
Start.
start this summer sometime. As far as like sequencing, I don't know that, they have some demo work, they have a lot of dirt work to do, so I don't know where this would fall on the scale, but
Could it be the summer?
probably this summer, if not next summer.
Okay. When does this portion of the work, I mean, is this all gonna be done this?
I mean, once we kick off MI6, it's a 2.5-year project.
So is this the beginning of MI6?
It's kind of right in the middle. Yeah. Usually they'll work from one end to the other, on certain things, so. Although this is utility work, sometimes they'll advance the utility work ahead of some of the other parts, so there is a possibility that some of this utility work and stuff could get done.
When did they first have conversations with the owners as far as potentially buying out, or when did these conversations start?
This has all just occurred within the last couple of months.
Within the last 69 days?
69 days.
And that's when the listing went active. What I'm asking is did they say, approach this conversation with the city and say, yeah, we'd prefer to be bought out.
I think.
Let's list it on the market at 400 grand,
Oh,
Yeah,
it was right around, I mean, when I first heard about the acquisition option, it had been listed. But
Probably just
I don't
very
know
close
if they knew
proximity.
that this was going on in the background. We had probably been in contact with them about, our engineers had been working with them about
so
working.
they knew that there was some work going on. And I don't want to be held over a barrel either to where You guys are talking about buying us out. Well, our price is 400 grand, $100,000 over what we paid for it, $110,000 over the assessed value. Oh, and there's $25,000 in repairs to anybody that would buy this place. I mean,
And we're losing money.
yeah, and we're digging into, you know, sales tax revenues that can go to something else up to the tune of 180 some odd $1,000. So
I believe they said they were willing to negotiate.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
So our thoughts are typically what we've done, we've used assessed value as a guideline. That we haven't paid to go and have a formal appraisal done of the property. Looks like the assessed value is going to be less than what the purchase price was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So that may or may not get the job done. You know, just how much leeway do we want to have?
I really don't feel comfortable giving them more than the purchase price.
Minus the 25,000.
Well, yeah, I don't. How much taxes do they owe? No, I mean, I think because we don't have to relocate tenants, that was 40,000 in there. You know, we can look, you know, like nice people and suck up that 25,000 maybe. If we're just demoing anyways, we're not gonna have to fix it, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
No, we're not, we don't know.
And these are all
No.
estimates.
But that relocation was 5,000.
So no tenants would be, you'd knock that $5,000 off.
Yeah.
Right.
Then the acquisition price, if you lowered that to $300,000, you'd be at 350.
That'd only be like about a $68,000 difference. Ish.
2,000 is demolition. Which wouldn't be in your purchase price.
No, but the total would be coming to 350 minus the 286 would bring us, you know, less than $100,000 coming out of sales tax.
So again, the biggest thing is we need to spend almost $200,000 putting in some driveways and everything else to have building, especially if it ends up sitting there empty and not used, only to be acquired at some point in the future. Presumably, we would have the demolition costs, or somebody would have the demolition costs, even if the county ends up with it, but bad taxes. And my guess is that the lender would never allow that to happen. And then we could deal with the lender and negotiate a sale also.
So what do you mean?
They would allow that, they would redeem it at the tax sale to protect their interest. They're not gonna allow it to go back. They're not gonna lose a $300,000 property for $9,000 of property taxes. So oftentimes what they'll do is they'll redeem the property. They'll end up with the deed through the tax sale, and then they'll try and sell it to recover their mortgage.
So you're looking for a motion in this meeting?
So their loan amount was for 280.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, right.
Yep, and then staff would bring it to, staff or other negotiators. So if somebody, we can't have a quorum there, but if there's council members that want in and want to participate in that.
Their loan amount was for $216,750. That was their conventional loan amount. That probably made a difference with cash. So.
Well, that could be negotiated contingent upon council approval. So like with some of our other acquisitions that we've done, we bring the negotiated deal back into executive session. And if council wants to give a counter offer back, we can bring that back to the negotiators. And if it sounds good to council in executive session, then we can adjourn the executive session and approve the negotiated settlement out in open session.
I'll make a motion for 300,000.
That would be the initial.
Nope, that's it.
Up to.
Up to 300,000.
What would a starting point be? $116,000.
Well, if we say our assessed, what did you say? That was 290?
Yeah,
And that's-
290 for 2024, it was 279 or 269 or 279 for
I
2023.
give the benefit of the doubt if it's 290 less 25 less 9.
Yeah.
Well, the
That'd
nine
be a
is,
starting
yeah,
point.
so you'd be minus 25 at 265. Should have 290. You know,
But presumably the assessed value that they just put on it would include the condition that it's in today.
I understand that, but I feel like we are in a stronger position in this negotiation than we are in others. So, I mean, I'm sticking with my 300,000.
does that 290 include the $25,000? I would say no. I could imagine Ryan has that factored in,
I
but
don't know if he actually went in the building or.
Is Ryan on Teams?
His name was on.
was that?
Ryan, are you participating in this executive session?
That's where I got the chat.
Ryan, you're on mute.
Who's running the,
Jennifer is.
oh, okay.
I'm not changing my
Jennifer
motion
from the
even
booth.
if it was included.
Yeah.
Or not included. Like, that's my motion. Voted down or up. I don't.
And the
care.
$300,000 would include payment of the back taxes. Like they pay their taxes. Yeah, but
It'll
like
come out
it-
of Proceeds.
Yeah.
Yes, it would come out of the proceeds.
Taxes to be brought current.
Well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? No, please call the roll.
Evans,
Yes.
Dancer,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Bittner,
Yes.
Ruggiero,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, if there's nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Motion by Paul, do your second. Second by Lisa. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let the minutes show that the executive session was adjourned at 5:10. And the council will return to the desk. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna shut off your cloud? Want me to?
Well, I think if you just. That's stop.
Or just hang up the Teams phone?
Yeah, I can stop recording. Stop recording or you just leave?
I think if you just
Okay.
leave it, it should stop.